Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a JDR RC blog. I hadn't done one of these in a while in video form, so I thought, what the heck, I may as well dust off the old video camera and see what we can do. This one is highlighting my favorite retro build that I've really ever done, and that, of course, is Bigfoot number 4. Pan the camera out to reveal sexy truck. Oh, wait, that was part of the script. I shouldn't have said that out loud. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Bigfoot number 4. One of my favorite builds because it's exactly how I pictured it in my head. I was sitting on the couch one night and I was going through some old photos, and I came across a photo of the very first monster truck I ever saw live and in person. And that was Bigfoot number 4, sitting at a car dealership that's no longer exists in Pana, Illinois. P-A-N-A, if you want to look that up. But I went there as a kid. I was, God, how old was I? This was in 1990, maybe 91, when I went and saw that truck. And it had the racer stripe body on it. I, as a kid, was like, oh my God, it's Bigfoot 8. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together, because as a kid, when you're watching these old videos and you see a truck on television and the first one that you see is Bigfoot 8 with a racer stripe on it, you immediately jump to the conclusion that, oh my God, I just saw Bigfoot 8 run. But it wasn't Bigfoot 8. As a kid, I always thought it was Bigfoot 8, and then I grew up when I saw all these photos that my mom had taken, and when I was like 10 or 12, I was like, wait a minute, that's not Bigfoot 8, that's not a tube chassis. So it took me a while to put all that together to realize, hey, that was number 4. Anyway, I decided what better thing to do is kind of like a tribute to the first truck I ever saw than to do a retro truck. And I had the Excalibur truck for a little while, so I thought, what the heck, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the money into Bigfoot. Well, everybody that knows me knows that when I'm doing a truck, it's got to look close to what it was back in the day. If I'm going to do a retro, I'm going to do a retro right. And I wanted to do Bigfoot 4 as close as possible to the actual truck as far as the body goes. I wanted the main underneath stuff just to be a clodbuster, which that may change soon. I'm looking into maybe doing a Wheelie King chassis so I can have some actual leaf springs on the truck to give it more of the replica look underneath. But the body was a big thing for me. I searched far and wide to get the right painters for bodies, and when I first got this truck, one of the bodies I had done was the racer stripe, and this body's ran a couple of times out at Trigger King. I think the last really cool time it ran was when we were, I think it was at the Bigfoot shop that I ran it the last time. It was the Pontiac. Yeah, the Pontiac shop was the last time I ran this body. And I got this one painted by Darkside Designs. He did a phenomenal job of replicating the truck. The problem that I had with this body, though, is that it's a repop body of the old Parma 91 Bigfoot body. And it's not in the greatest condition. It's kind of brittle. And I hate that it's brittle. I really like the body, but with it being a Parma 91 repop, I took it off the truck and I was like, you just sit over here on my wall and look pretty. I'd only ran it those couple of times because the original the first body that I had was the original Bigfoot Blue that I had him do. And after 2 or 3 races, I noticed right down the side, from up here down, there was a big giant crack on that blue body. So I'd only ran this body a couple of times, and I thought, I'm just going to put this one away. It's going to sit over here. It looks too good to be destroyed. Then, a little while after I put that body on the shelf, and I still ran the blue body for a while because I was waiting on a certain body to come out, JConcepts came out with the 1988 Ford body that you see here and you see here. The big thing that JConcepts did was they came out with the racer back, and they came out with, on their Shapeways store, the headlights, or the KC lights that you could put on the top of the truck. or the roll bar from number 4. Get a nice little shot of that you could also put on the truck. And the reason that they did that was because of this truck right here, this version of number 4 that John Pyatt drove. It had those pink lights up top, but it had a racer back on the back of it. They got rid of the roll bar. But when number 4 came out, number 4 had one of the more unique roll bars in the sport. It was a shorter roll bar. I don't think it added too much weight to the truck to have that roll bar on there. And everybody knows number 4. There's a famous clip from, I think it's 1988 in Minneapolis. It's one of the shows that I watched over and over again when I was a kid because I had it on VHS. I remember Samson 1 pulling up to Bigfoot 4, and Rich Hoosier was driving Bigfoot 4 at the time. I want to say he pulls up to him, and you see the height difference in the trucks, and you hear Margot King and I forget the guy's name off the top of my head now. It'll come to me. I'm sure it will. I'll remember it by the end of this and just scream it out at you. Larry Huffman, I believe. Yes, Larry Huffman, I think, was the guy that made that call. And he said, number 1, he said, look at Samson, it's got more chrome than Sammy Davis Jr.'s driveway. And he said, look at the height difference between Bigfoot and Samson. Bigfoot was like, I think he said 10 feet 6 inches tall. And Samson was a good 2 feet higher. I wanted my Bigfoot to still resemble the height of Bigfoot number 4. If you can kind of get I get a shot like that, you can see it's pretty close. I did just about everything I could to try and make this thing look as close as possible as far as the body goes. And like I said, I looked at different painters. I looked at all sorts of different painters. Dark Side Designs was the first one that I went to. I started to go and look for some more painters, and then I thought, you know, I could just do this myself if I take my time. And the first body I didn't take my time with. I screwed it up. I screwed it up royally. I had too bright of a silver lining in there. And you can clearly see in this body, there's a darker silver line that goes all the way down, just like the actual truck had. And there was a line that goes up the door all the way around, up around the window. And this body right here, it's not 100% perfect by any means, but to me it's more special because I did it, and I feel like I've done something really cool here. I love the way that this truck gets complimented because of all the work that I put into it. This body particular is my favorite one that I like to run a lot. I ran it all summer. One thing I'll point out, I get a lot of questions, hey Josh, how'd you do the flags? These flags are just a bandana that I found at Walmart. I cut the corner edges off of them. I didn't, like a lot of guys will take a lighter and try and burn the fabric just enough to where it doesn't come undone. I didn't do it. I cut the flags and left them like that. I thought they came out pretty okay, but I can see that after a summer's worth of destruction of the truck, it's starting to have a few little frayed edges. So I'm looking into getting some more, and this is where I'll plug my sponsor right here, JB Scale Graphics. Jonathan Arnold, great guy, great products that he provides. He did every decal on this truck other than where it says like Ford F350, where it says this in the front end. He did the Bigfoot logo that he took off of a cell phone, or I took the photo, he took it off of the photo from my cell phone and made this logo as bright and vibrant as it is. He also did the truck right here, and that thing just has so much detail in it. It's actually a little bright here in the video, but when you look at it up close, it's pretty dark blue. It doesn't match the blue that I have on the truck for the main reason that I wanted it to pop a little more when people look at it. He did a phenomenal job replicating that, and he's also working on scale Ford flags for the back of vehicles like Bigfoots and your Gravediggers and USA 1s and stuff like that. I mean, he is working his butt off on that. That's one thing I think that he could make a lot of money off of, is doing scale replica flags for guys that want those flags for their retros. I mean, with me, I'd love to have a little Barefoot too someday, So hopefully maybe we can work something out and get Little Barefoot and do 3 or 4 flags off the back of it like that truck had. One thing I'll point out here, and I know a lot of guys are watching this for RC stuff, but as far as Bigfoot goes, this is more of a earlier looking Bigfoot that I have right now, and there's a reason behind that. Every video that you see from Trigger King this summer, and pretty much every video since we ran one of the Smack Track races, this truck's always had the gray rims, because everybody told me, you gotta run the gray rims, you gotta run the gray rims. That was when 4 was so dominant, was when it had its gray rims, and it had this body right here on it, pink lights back in the old TNT days and in the special events days. I love the rims, don't get me wrong, but what we had go wrong was at the last race that I ran, we had here recently, just this past Sunday at Falcon Hobby. Went to go into round number 1. I think I was racing, ironically, Bob Chandler Jr. Come around the corner, the first corner, and I hit the jump really awkwardly and landed very hard on the left rear. And the truck, I took a photo of it. It's on my RC Racing page. By the way, cheap plug, Josh Rhodes RC Racing on Facebook. Please go give me a like. I would love that page to grow. I write a lot of blogs, a lot of articles. I'm starting to do like real monster truck stuff too on there, but I want that page to grow. So if you guys can help me out there, I'd greatly appreciate it. Anyway, landed really hard on the left rear, and the tires, or the rims that I have, this white set and that gray set, were printed by RH Designs, Ross Henshaw. Great products. I cannot recommend that guy enough. The first gray rims that I got from him, though, they were just the 3D printed, and they had the 3D printed hex in there for your tire mount, for your clodbuster. You stick that little 12 millimeter hex in there, and you're good to go. On the white set, he put in a aluminum insert with the hex rounded inside of it. So the white set has this nice aluminum hex that you can, or aluminum piece that you can slide the hex into, whereas the other set was just that 3D printed material. And after that hard rollover it took, and ended up landing perfectly on the side of the racing, the starting jump, I rounded out that left rear hex, and I didn't notice it until I put the truck back on the ground to go run again in the second bracket. And I somehow won a race with only front wheel drive in that truck, and then come around in the next race, and that's when I pretty well finished it off. So that's why the white rims are on with this body right now, but it normally runs the gray. I'm either going to see if Ross can take those rims that I have and make the insert to put into them, or just have him print off another gray set of rims. Because, and don't get me wrong, I'm going to sound bad here, I love JConcepts products, but these rims that I had Ross do are for a special reason. A lot of guys will probably look at my truck and notice my front tires sit pretty close to the inside of that body. I mean, it's not anywhere near like number 4 was back in the day, but it gives it more of a stance to what number 4 had. And Ross printed these and moved the center of the rim back just a little bit, or excuse me, move the center of the rim forward just a little bit, so I could scoot that in. Maybe it's not even a quarter of an inch. I'm going to sound prude here, but I really wanted that to be a little bit farther in, but he explained to me he couldn't do it, otherwise I wouldn't have as much throw in the steering, and I'd probably be losing brackets left and right, because I'd only have about that much throw versus that, you know. I mean, even with rear steering, that's not going to help you out very much. You're still going to push in the corners. So I got what he did, and I like it for the racing aspect, but I like that my truck sits a little leaner and a little thinner than most stock clodbusters out there. Pan to the side right here for you. The electronics in this truck, that's something I didn't jump on yet. Stock Tamiya motors, and inside of it you can see the Novak Super Rooster. It It's the ESC that I'm running. I like the Super Rooster for a very lot of reasons in this truck, but it's going to have a different ESC here soon. I believe it's a Duratrax ESC I bought a while back. Probably going to throw it in there because with that ESC you get a little bit more speed versus torque. I imagine I could change the Super Rooster out just a little bit, but I haven't really fiddled with it yet, so I might just go ahead and put the Duratrax one in just to kind of see with it. Servos. I'll throw the servo in here. I have always ran Savox servos. Which ones did I put in this truck? Sorry about that. 1267 Savox servo is what I have in this truck. This is my built to race, built to run retro. I went no spared expense as far as steering and as far as motors go. I put in some pretty hefty silver can motors in this thing. I tested, tested 3 sets, and these were the ones that had the most speed. I also tested a set of I think it's Holmes Hobby motors, which have a little bit more torque, and they didn't really agree with the gearboxes. It sounded they did not like the gearboxes at all. For some reason they felt really tight, and I could hardly turn the wheels with my hands, let alone driving the truck. So I went back to the stock Tamiya motors. This was the best set that I had available. This was the newest set that I had, so I put them in there. I do have new motors coming because I'm going to need some before next season really begins. So number 4 is going to get a few updates here and there, but I'm still going to be keeping this body. I'm still going to be running this body for a while. And we're going to have some fun with this truck this summer. I really think we're going to do a little better than we did last summer. I'm willing to bet we may be competing for that championship next summer with this truck. I'm going to do a few things, and we're going to tweak it, and we're going to see what we can do to be right up there with the rest of those guys. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you'd like to talk to me about, head on over to Josh Rhodes RC Racing or make a comment on this video. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and remember, always keep that shiny side up.